Shalom, Israel, Shalom. This is the brother Kutaz Yahweh back at it with another lesson. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elders, and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to you brothers out there laboring in this truth and faith and sincerity. And shalom to the families out there, the men, women, and little ones who are watching, waiting, praying on Yahweh Shai's second return. Peace and blessings to the house of David, the hopeful elect. All right, so this going to be a Father will, a quick in the news, a relatively quick. But I came across a few articles that I want to go into real quick. And here's the first one. I'm exhausted, hot, irritated, and hungry. Indiana woman living in a blackout has gone over a week without power. And yeah, man, if you've been keeping up or been watching the news, you'll know that it's been just over a week, maybe 9 days now at this point of me recording this, maybe 9 days now that they've been without power over in Indiana. An Indiana woman posts update about living in a blackout for over a week. According to her TikTok channel, the power outage was caused by a tornado that ran through her town of Gary. Her first two videos had the tally at 6 days without power. Additionally, she claimed the situation is even more stressful as she lives in one of the highest crime cities in the state. She describes the blackout as one of the worst ever for Indiana. The woman is nervous to return to her house due to alleged break-ins and people running up to cars, but she can't afford to stay in hotels any longer. Another video she posted is from day 7 without power. She provides a little insight into efforts to restore power and how she and her children are doing. The family is currently without food, as the only locations, Family Dollar and a grocery store, are closed. The woman states that refrigerator is as empty as my soul.
Worst blackouts and one of the highest crime cities in Indiana. As you can see from the bags under my motherfucking eyes, I'm tired. First things first, I have no food. That refrigerator is as empty as my soul right now. I don't know how you don't get I live in a food desert. So we literally survive off Family Dollars and one grocery store that sells old expired produce that they get from other grocery stores. And even those are fucking closed. I also have an autistic daughter, which means her screen time has been 0 and my irritation time has been 100. And before you talk about autistic parents and tablets, please know that her educational games are my only time where she doesn't scream and holler. So we're not having that time. We have something very simple set up for the bathroom. We have these little lanterns that we bought from Walmart. They are battery powered. You just pop them down and then you pop them back up when you have to go TT. As you can see, per usual, our favorite is doing what he does best, sleeping. It is extremely hot and humid. Inside my house is 80 degrees because we have no AC and there's a fucking hole in multiple parts of my roof from that lovely fucking tree deciding to collapse. As of right now, they're telling us that they don't know when our power would be back on. First, they told us Friday. Then they accused someone of shooting at NIPSCO. Yes, shooting at the NIPSCO worker, and have paused all restoration power in our area attempts to further notice.
Furthermore, part of her struggle is being a mom with an autistic daughter whose screen time has been 0. All right. Yeah. And so from here, man, it's only going to get worse. All right. What this woman is experiencing, what a lot of people, are deeming as, a tragedy, and oh man, it's fucked up that she's going through that, X, Y, Z. Everybody about to go through this. If you in Babylon, so-called America, you about to go through this. You know, it said something about her staying in hotels because, you know, alleged break-ins and shit like that. Well, I mean, that's part of prophecy. You know, like we always telling y'all constantly and constantly and constantly, you need to be praying and repenting to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, begging for mercy and forgiveness. You know, otherwise you gonna be unprotected in that day, man. And the last thing you want to do is not have favor of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai when that day come, man, because no no amount of money or preparation, canned foods you got stored up, no amount of guns and ammo you have, I don't care how impenetrable the bunker you got is, which most people wouldn't have anyway. If you don't have the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, it's over with. It's over. You know, you susceptible to all kind of evil spirits coming to get you. You know, and we're gonna get a couple scriptures here in a second. New York woman sounds alarm after frightening run-in with masked stranger. I could see the evil in his eyes. A New York woman says she was left fearing for her safety after she encountered a masked stranger on a street in Brooklyn on Tuesday morning. She claimed the individual chased her down and threatened to hurt her. After sharing her story on TikTok, many netizens reacting to the video said they were enraged by the incident and believe more should be done to protect women in general.
Bear, I swear, give me the bear. So I'm walking down the street today. Just now. And this guy is walking towards me. And he stops about, I would say probably about 6 feet in front of me. And he just stops. He has like a mask on, but not like a conventional medical mask. He has, but also not a ski mask. I think he had like his shirt, those long tunnel neck t-shirts that cover up just like up to your nose where you could only see your eye. And then he had on like a white hoodie, but like a really thin hoodie, white t-shirt, blue jeans, probably about 5'8", no more than 5'9", black, couldn't be no more than 145 pounds wet. He stops about 6 feet in front of me. So I stop, like, why is he stopping? But I didn't give like a quizzical look because I didn't want to alarm him. And this is what men need to understand, that sometimes women play along or go along with certain situations to an extent because we don't want to further antagonize men. Because we are fearful, it doesn't mean we are in agreement. We are fearful almost all the time. So I stopped when he stopped, and we're still 6 feet apart. And he just looked, I could see the evil in his eyes. I can see the evil in my eyes, and my soul, my spirit, the Lord told me not to walk past this man because we were in somewhat of tight corners, and there weren't, at this point, I'm checking my surroundings, like there's nobody else around, all within like a span of 1 second. I'm checking everything, and I'm just like, what is going on? So I'm walking with my bag. I had my bag crossbody. So I'm like checking in my bag. I went for my keys to take out. I have like a alarm thing on my keys to make like a really loud sound, and I'm checking for my keys. So I said, okay, next to me, there's a big island, gated island where they grow the trees and stuff like that in the bushes. So I was like, okay, let me act like I'm meant to go that way. So I was like, oh, and I kind of like did this and then walked this way. Of course, that antagonized him. And he ran around that way. He was like, oh, you trying to run from me? I'm gonna catch you, and I'm gonna punch you in your face. I'm gonna F you up. So I run back this way, and he runs back. So we're running around this circle he's trying to get me, and I keep running back different ways. And I have sandals on. Unfortunately, I had sandals on because it's the summertime. Why would I think I need to put my sneakers on, my trainers on, just, whatever. And I finally managed to psych him out from the way that I'm going, and he's still like yelling profanity at me and trying to get to me. And there's a building right there that had a security guard there. So I ran to the security guard building with a guy there, and I'm like, can I come in the building? And he like ushers me in the building, kind of like saw the interaction or whatever. And I'm like shaking and crying at this point, trying to calm myself down, and the guy's trying to calm me down. I'm like, is he still out there? And I like went and hid in the building because it's also glass. I didn't want him to see. And then it was just a whole thing. And then the security guard, while he was nice and trying to help me out, he also pissed me off because then he's just like, oh, well, I see this guy pass by all the time. I think he's harmless. What? What part of that terrorizing was harmless? What part of that? So if he had gotten me, if I didn't know how to run or psych him out, or if I did pass him, do you think it still would have been harmless? I get he was trying to calm me down, but please don't minimize a woman's situation by trying to make her feel good and telling her, oh, it's harmless. It's never harmless. Believe us when we tell you it's never harmless. Because guess what? While nothing happened to me and I made it out safely, thank God I am fine, it's not harmless. It lives right here. It lives right here. It was God in my spirit that told me. I knew everything in my gut, in my spirit, that told me not to walk past that man. Usually, you go along with the situation or try to act like something isn't wrong so you don't antagonize the person that you know something is wrong with. But sometimes if you antagonize them, it makes the situation worse. In this situation, my spirit told me, the Lord told me not to walk past that man. And I promise you, if I walked past him, I would not be standing here telling my story today. I promise you, I know that in every inch, the depths of my soul, I would not be standing here right now.
Well, if the Lord wanted you back in the spirit world that day, that's where you would be. Bottom line. And really beyond that, it's these females that need to understand, man, heavy judgment is coming down upon y'all. All right, especially the Israelite woman. Okay, with that Gardenian pact made in the Garden of Eden with the serpent that was not a fucking snake, by the way. It's not a fucking talking snake. It's metaphorical. All right. But nonetheless, as Jacob's trouble ramps up, don't get me wrong, Jacob in general, right? Meaning the men and women and children are about to go through some tribulation and scary times. Women are about to get it the worst. They by siding with Esau, by being beguiled by the devil, yet again, as far as what happened with feminism in the 60s and 70s and shit like that, and, pushing Jake out of the house so they could get government benefits and shit like that and try to be independent, even though you're not independent, you're dependent on Esau when you have all them government aids and shit. Shit like that, man. And just the downplaying of Jake over all of these years and shit like that, man. A lot of women then committed, serious adultery by having more than one husband, because the act of sex is marriage, and the man you lay with is the man you're supposed to stay with. But we live in a generation where an adulterous generation, roughly paraphrasing what Yahweh Shai said, we live in an adulterous generation where these females think it's okay to have been with more than one man. Matter of fact, before I get the next article, let's grab that. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, and verse 4. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. Mark 8:38. Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. Right. So this whole generation is adulterous as fuck, man. All right. You got men glorifying being with other men's women, which is gay to some degree, right? Why the hell you want to stick your rod where another man put his at, man, and then gloat about it? You know, like, oh yeah, I fucked your bitch. You know, for the lack of a better phrase, you know, that's what they say. All right, and then you got women who do the same thing, vice versa, who, you know, will be petty towards other women and say, I fucked your man, or, you know, or they have this roster of men, you know, and I don't care if you've been with more than one man, like two is too many. So how much more these females with 7, 9, 15, 23, 30? You dig what I'm saying? How much more of them, man? Adulterous generation, man. And like I said, man, especially these Israelite females, man, you know, like they really fucked up in the hood. You know, they get around like a fan, man. For this is 1 Peter 4:17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if at first, Salakia, the BART train going by, and if you're familiar with like subway stations and shit like that in New York or whatever, well, in the Bay Area in California, we got something similar called the BART, and that's what that was. 1 Peter 4:17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High, and if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel? You see, you think these women are repentant? You know that woman said, you know, I knew it was the Lord telling me. Man, shut up. The Lord didn't tell you nothing. Because first of all, he's not dealing with women on that level. Second of all, if you was predesignated to get sent back to the spirit world in that moment, that's what would have happened. But no, the doors of mercy are open, and everybody done heard about the Hebrew Israelites by now. You heard what the names of the Heavenly Father and His Son are. And if you're not calling on those names, repenting to those names, begging for mercy and forgiveness, trying to fast away those spirits and shit like this that you have on you, you know, if you're not doing that, you know, it's going to be too late when the doors of mercy are shut. It's going to be too damn late, you know. This is the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 10. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. Right, these women are about to get trampled over, man. You know, the few sincere sisters out there who are watching, believing, they call on Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, you know, they're not going to have nothing to worry about. But it's the rest of you females, you know, that are not repentant. You know, you going around shaking your ass. You know, you going around indecently dressed, not modestly dressed. You know, you're not walking around shamefaced. You're walking around prideful, proud as all hell. You know, sleeping with all these different men. You know, and just proud ultimately, man. You know, And pride goeth before destruction, man. And she that is mine enemy shall see it. And that's because Eve, when we talk about the Israelite woman, man, we talking about Eve. And Eve, man, she done been an enemy to Jake, from the gate, man, since the garden, And shame is about to cover them, man. Shame is definitely about to cover them. And you see how dude said, he was going to hurt her or whatever the case may be, And that's because he could likely be a spirit created for vengeance. And then that vengeance is going to get executed one way or another. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 39:28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of their destruction, they pour out the force and appease the wrath of him that made them. You see? And just like that first video we watched where the power is out in Indiana. Now, wait till the power is out all around Babylon. Okay, it's going to become a big, gigantic, haunted house. All right, you might have just seen the news where a cat was going around in a Chucky mask and shit. Them spirits is about to be all over the place, man. Spirit of Chucky, Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw, It, the Clown, you name it. Them spirits are going to be all over the place running rampant, man. And with the power being out everywhere, that's going to be the clear sign of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay, so the elect is going to be saved out of it. The 1/3 are going to be saved out of it, right? But everybody going to go through Jacob's trouble, but the 1/3 are going to be preserved for the sake of righteousness and being beamed up by the chariots, while the 2/3 and these heathens, okay, they gonna go through it, and a lot of them are gonna be slaughtered and killed and deleted, I should say, for the sake of YouTube. A lot of them gonna be deleted, man. And the Lord Yahweh Shai is so cold, man. He could have you sent back to the spirit world, have you deleted in Jacob's trouble, just to restore you during the time of the nuclear missiles hitting, so your ass feel that fire, feel that flesh-burning thermonuclear destruction. You see? So this is why it's important, man, to be repentant now and to be fighting a good fight of faith. Because Jacob's trouble ain't going to be no joke, man. The power going to be out. Food is going to be scarce. Some cats are going to try to go out to get food for their family and bring it back, man, and they not going to make it back. A lot of these cats are going to get shipped off for World War III. They're going to get shipped off, man, get drafted, and that's going to leave a lot of women defenseless and vulnerable, because there's also going to be a lot of cats that don't go, and they're going to band together, and, these motherfuckers are going to be killing each other in the streets and looting houses and ravishing women and children and ravishing men as well, This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12, and verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book of life. Exactly, direct precept to Jeremiah 30:7. The hopeful elect will be delivered, right? Because they'll be found written in the book of life, predesignated for salvation. But the 2/3, man, eh, a world of trouble is coming. All right. Um, this is the book of Second Timothy, chapter 3, and verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, which we in the last days. And this is why you seeing so many different articles about, a 2-year-old being killed, a 5-year-old being beat to death, a 1-year-old being deleted, a newborn being deleted, 4-year-old, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 80-year-old, 92-year-old being deleted, being beat to death and shit like this, man. Because these spirits are running rampant, and it's only gonna get worse from here, man. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78, and verse 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. Okay, so there's angels on the right-hand side which do good for the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shai, and then there are angels on the left-hand side, including Satan, that do evil. Okay, all controlled by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shai. Second Ezra 15:6, for wickedness, Salakia, verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Okay, so that's why all of this has to happen. All of these prophecies have to take place, because take a look around the earth. Look at how wicked it is, I got so many articles saved, man, of, family members deleting each other, right? The love of many waxing cold, roughly paraphrasing the scriptures. Children as young as, newborns to toddlers, being sexually assaulted, just people eating all kinds of abominations, all kind of adultery and fornication going on, physical and spiritual fornication, and the whole earth is just polluted, man. And so those nuclear missiles got to come to reset this shit, man. This is verse 8. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Who are the souls of the just? That's us. All right. Abaratazah, I be of the hopeful elect. Abaratazah, y'all watch and be of the hopeful elect as well. That's us. That's the brothers on the highways and byways. That's the brothers putting up lessons. Okay. That's the hopeful elect sending up their prayers daily. Okay. Continuing to complain. Yahweh Shem Shai, how much longer must we endure this? How much longer must we suffer this? Suffer the wickedness of these people. Okay. And the righteous blood crieth unto me. Okay. This is those that have passed, and are saying the same thing. How long must this endure? And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which is synonymous with bondage in Babylon, but I will bring them, or spiritually Babylon, or Babylon is spiritually Egypt, Salakia. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Okay, so Babylon is about to get hit with those plagues. You know, the woman in the first video in Gary, Indiana, with the power out and shit, said that a tornado hit and all of that. Well, that's about to become more rampant. I just felt a big ass earthquake. I want to say some days to a week ago or something like that. Felt a big ass earthquake, you know. And there's gonna be more of that, man. More signs and wonders from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, like we just talked about. You know, when the power go out and shit like that, and the water not running, you know, there's gonna be groups of individuals going house to house, man, scavenging, looting, ravishing, you know. And there ain't gonna be no police to call. There ain't gonna be no 911 to dial. There ain't no EMS on the way to treat no injuries, you know. Terrifying moment as New York woman slams door shut just before a stranger can get inside. Deport him. A frightening incident in New York was caught on video after a woman managed to slam her front door shut just moments before a stranger tried to enter her home. And this is going to be, you know, this is going to be reality for a lot of people coming soon, man. This is going to be reality. And us, not just people, but women especially, because women are more vulnerable. Okay, they are the weaker vessel pursuant to 1 Peter 3 and 7. You know, women are the weaker vessel, man. So just imagine this situation that you're seeing right here on screen, right? Imagine this. But, you stupid ass ads. But instead of it just being him, it's like 4 of him, 5 of him, 6 of him. And they putting shoulder to door. They putting boot to door. And she in there by herself, no man. And then let's say she did have a man, but he ain't a man of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Well, you gonna get fucked up too. You know, and it's I'm telling you, man, I shit you not, mark my words. It's gonna get as greasy to the point where, like, even if she had a man, 4, 5, 6, 7 niggas kick that door in, they will tie that nigga to a couch and watch him and make him watch her get ravished in front of him as they take turns with her. It's gonna get that greasy, man. You know, it's gonna get that greasy, man. So that's why you need to be praying to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, repenting and fighting the good fight of faith. We all fall short at times because we in this flesh. Okay, we in this sinful flesh that's constantly warring against our spirits. But this is why we gotta just keep fighting the good fight of faith, man. Keep repenting to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, begging for mercy and forgiveness, you know, and praying that we be able to hopefully elect, man, and doing to the best of our abilities, rehearsing the righteous acts pursuant to Judges 5 and 11. You know. Because we just read in 1 Peter 4 and 17, what shall be in the end of them that obey not the gospel. Okay. So them that are hearing his word but are not taking heed to it, you know. And when that famine of the word hit, you're not gonna be able to be like, man, where them brothers at that was on the corners saying that all this shit was going down? Where them brothers at that was putting up the videos? And you know what I mean? Because it ain't gonna be no power anyway. And then, you know, pursuant to what's that, First Esdras 16 and 40, you know, we're gonna have to be moving about it. We might be having to move about the move about the earth as pilgrims, man, going from place to place to place, you know, not trying to get caught up.
Hey, New Yorkers, what's good? New York City audit. All right, I want you to take a look at this
Look
video.
at how close
There's a
that was.
woman that got inside her apartment, and as soon as she got in, there's an individual that almost went inside with her,
Look
but
at
he
how
didn't
close
succeed.
that was.
Ladies, please be aware, be on point.
Look at how close that was. Oh, look, I'm not laughing at her. I'm just like, I'm laughing because it's like, God damn, that was close. That was like had she not been quick enough and had her wits about her, if she had just been like in La La Land and shit, which you could tell she was on point, but had she just been in La La Land, like that would have been her ass, literally and metaphorically.
Hey, New Yorkers, what's good? New York City audit. All right, I want you to take a look at this video. There's a woman that got inside her apartment, and as soon as she got in,
And so, even though she was quick to get in the apartment and stuff like this, man, we are coming into a time where you ain't gonna be able to call the police, and there ain't gonna be nothing stopping whoever's on the other side of that door from trying to get in. And I don't care about all these females talking about, yeah, I got guns and this, that, and that. Well, like, that's a good thing. You as a woman, yeah, like, you should keep a gun in your purse. You know what I mean? Like, it's dangerous, you know, especially if you ain't got no man. Especially at that point, you know. But what I'm getting at is there's going to come a time where even that ain't going to save you. You need Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And if you don't have Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, you know, you just fucked, you know, because Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai will put you with a man of himself for that sake of protection, you know, which is why, you know, when Jacob's trouble pop off, you know, Isaiah 4 and 1 is going to really become a thing, you know, even more rampant than just the economy declining, but like, women are going to want to be protected, and in that day, they're going to see it's the men of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that are left standing. All right, and not just these regular cats in the world, man. This is Luke 21 and 26. Men's hearts failing them for fear. Verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring. There's going to be a lot going on, a lot of catastrophes, disasters, right? Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shooken, and men's hearts failing them for fear, meaning there's going to be men out here having heart attacks and shitting their pants. All right. Yes, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", swole, buff as hell, but guess what? Having heart attacks, crying, gnashing of teeth for the fear of the shit that's coming upon the earth. All right. But man, if Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, we ain't going to be shaking in our boots in that day, man. We ain't shaking in our boots now. We ain't going to be shaking in our boots in that day because we got faith in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. We rest our trust in our faith and our prisoners of hope in Yahweh Shai. You know, let's get Proverbs 18:10. The name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. You see? So those people, those different Israelites that say the name isn't important, you know, or they call on the wrong names, or those Christians and other individuals who say that the name isn't important, well, you sound stupid as fuck. You know, the name is of utmost importance. The name of the Heavenly Father and His Son are of utmost importance, man. And if you can't get past that, you really can't, then the Lord has blocked you from understanding this truth, blocked you from understanding the Bible in general. If you can't get the names, you know. This is John 3:12. If I have told you earthly things and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? Exactly as Yahweh Shai is saying, man. If you can't get just the basics, if you can't spiritually receive, how do I want to phrase this? If you can't spiritually receive the things that are on the lower end, for the lack of a better phrase, or, you know, not necessarily lower vibration, but just for the lack of a better phrase, we're going to say that. Then how are you going to get or understand the things of a higher vibration, if you will? You know, you can't get past their names being Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, or them. You can't get past the Heavenly Father and His Son being so-called black man. Then how in heaven are you going to get reincarnation? How in heaven are you going to understand these prophecies, the prophecies that have already passed and the prophecies that are yet to pass? You know, how are you going to get the fact that hell isn't a location, isn't a place that you go to and burn for eternity? How are you going to get that all people, no matter what they do, right, deleting children, raping people, rape, rob, murder, etc., all people, when they die, go back to heaven, receive their judgment, and then live out their judgment here on earth when they come back through reincarnation? How are you going to get that? You can't. You're not. You see? So yeah, man, I'm gonna leave it there, man. Salaki, I didn't mean to make this too long. But yeah, keep fighting the good fight of faith, Israel. Beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the hopeful elect. You know, keep fighting the good fight of faith. Keep praying, repenting, fasting, begging Yahweh and Yahweh Shai for mercy and forgiveness while the doors of mercy are closed. Keeping the righteous acts to the best of your abilities, pursuant to Judges 5 and 11. Okay. Let's get one more Salakia. This Amos 3:1. Hear this word that Yahweh hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Okay. And so that's what Jacob's trouble is. Okay. It's predominantly punishment for the Israelites. This is Amos chapter 8 and verse 11. Behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. Okay? So get this word while you can. Isaiah 55:6, seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Roughly paraphrasing. Okay? Because people are going to be running from the north even to the east. They're going to be running up and down trying to get this word, realizing that they shouldn't have neglected it, and it's going to be too late in that day. Okay? In that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst, because they're not going to be able to get this living water. That is these scriptures, that is the Bible. Okay? So get this word while you can. Pray, fast, and repent. Shalom.